The storm rolled over Chicago like a freight train, sudden and merciless. One minute, the evening air was heavy and gray. The next, rain lashed the pavement in blinding sheets. Wind howled between buildings, rattling signs and sending trash cans tumbling down the sidewalk. Near the edge of the Chicago Riverwalk, the river churned dark and restless beneath the flashing streetlights. Daniel Ruiz hunched his shoulders against the downpour, shielding his 8-year-old daughter as best he could with his worn jacket. "Almost home," he said, squeezing Sophia's small hand. She grinned despite the weather. "You promised hot chocolate, with extra marshmallows." "I remember," he replied. "A Ruiz never forgets." It had been just the two of them for 3 years now. Since the hospital room. Since the goodbye he still couldn't say out loud. Daniel had learned how to braid hair from online videos, how to stretch $20 into a week's worth of groceries, how to work 10-hour shifts at the auto garage and still show up smiling at school recitals. Exhaustion was constant, but so was love. Thunder cracked overhead. They had just reached the intersection when headlights swerved wildly through the rain. A sleek black sedan hydroplaned, tires screeching helplessly before spinning sideways. Time seemed to slow as the car slammed into a lamppost with a violent crunch of metal. The impact echoed down the street. For a split second, no one moved. Daniel's heart pounded. He looked at Sophia. "Stay under that awning," he said, guiding her quickly toward the entrance of a closed cafe. "Do not move, no matter what." "I won't," she whispered, though fear widened her eyes. Daniel ran toward the wreck. Steam hissed from beneath the crumpled hood. The front of the car was crushed inward, windshield spiderwebbed with cracks. Inside, a man in an expensive suit lay slumped over the steering wheel, blood streaking down his temple. "Hey, sir!" Daniel shouted over the storm, tugging at the driver's door. It wouldn't budge. A sharp scent hit him. Gasoline. He circled to the passenger side. Locked. "Come on," he muttered, glancing back at Sophia, standing exactly where he'd left her, brave, obedient, trusting. He grabbed a loose chunk of concrete from the curb and smashed it against the passenger window. The glass shattered inward. Ignoring the sting as shards sliced into his forearm, he reached inside, unlocked the door, and forced it open with all his strength. The man was heavier than he looked. Daniel hooked his arms beneath the stranger's shoulders and pulled. Rain soaked them both as he dragged him across the pavement. A spark flared beneath the hood. "Move," Daniel breathed, straining harder. They had barely cleared the vehicle when flames erupted, heat blasting against Daniel's back. The explosion knocked him forward. Instinctively, he curled around the unconscious man, shielding him from flying debris. Sirens wailed in the distance. Elias Grant woke up 2 days later in a private suite at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. His memory was blurred. Rain, fire, arms pulling him from heat. "Who saved me?" he asked his assistant. "We're still identifying him," she replied. "Witnesses say he left before giving his name." Elias frowned. No one walked away from saving a billionaire. "Find him." Security footage eventually revealed a face, a mechanic's uniform, a small boy beside him, a name, Daniel Ruiz. Address, a modest apartment on the west side of Chicago. When Elias knocked on the door days later, Daniel answered cautiously. "You saved my life," Elias said. Daniel shrugged. "Anyone would have done it." "I want to repay you," Elias insisted. "Money, a house, your son's college fund." Mateo peeked from behind his father. Daniel knelt beside him. "What do we say?" "Thank you," Mateo said politely. "But my dad says we don't take rewards for doing what's right." Elias stood silent. He had built empires through negotiation and contracts, yet this man wanted nothing. "Then at least let me know if you ever need help," Elias said. Daniel gave a small nod. "If I do, I'll ask." But he never did. Months later, Elias quietly funded a scholarship program in Mateo's school district. Anonymous, no publicity, no press. Sometimes the greatest lessons aren't taught in boardrooms. They're learned in the rain.